Are we recording, Andy? All right. So uh, all the way from Florida, we're proud to welcome. So Ashley Whitney is with us today, and Ashley has the dubious honor of kind of sharing the presidency over like a split year, and then you get an extra year on top of that. Is that how that works with the Noon Club because of some changes that went on there? So she's leading the Noon Club, but what an exciting year to be president of the Petoskey Noon Club, because it is the club centennial. And having just gone through a centennial with the chamber in 2019, I know what an exciting thing it is and how fun it is to kind of kick back or dig back, I mean, and look at the history. So Ashley, as we all know, runs Harbor Brand Insurance and Financial Services. She's been president of the Petoskey Chamber Board of Directors, active in numerous causes and events and programs around the community, and now leading, like I said, the Noon Rotary Club. And so we're lucky to have Ashley with us, and all the way from Florida.
Hello, everyone. It is so nice to see all of these faces that I know and recognize. I can't tell you how much I miss seeing everyone in person. This stuff can't end soon enough. So I'm going to try and share my screen. And can everybody see the presentation? Okay, good. Let me, I don't there we go. Everybody can still see it? Good. Okay. I want to thank Bob Metzger, who's joining us today, because he's the one who put this PowerPoint together. The Noon Club has a group of people that are building up our history for the last 100 years. So this is the first of several presentations we're going to be doing throughout the year talking about the Noon Club's history. This is about the founders of the club. So it was a dark and stormy November night. We don't really know if it was a dark and stormy night, but it was November 4th in Petoskey, Michigan. So odds are good it was dark and stormy. There are 18 people who met that evening to start the Petoskey Rotary Club. We are missing 2 photos. So if you happen to have a photo of Bud Salisbury or Henry Bees, please share with the Noon Club. Some of these names may be familiar as well because some of them were integrally involved in starting the chamber. And as Carlin mentioned, he did a great centennial presentation 2 years ago for the Chamber of Commerce founding. We've decided this picture is the reason why we don't meet at night. I'm not quite sure what all these hats are for or what they represent. But this was in, I believe, 1927 or 28, and a lot of the individuals are in this photo as well. But first off, we're going to talk about Henry Frederick Bees. Henry was born in 1869 in Elyria, Ohio. He was the owner of Bees and Porter Dry Goods. In January of 1925, we have historical records of an indoor baseball game between the Rotary Club of Petoskey and Kiwanis, which, by the way, is celebrating their centennial in January of 2022, which is kind of cool. In that baseball game, Henry was an outfielder. He helped organize the Petoskey Chamber of Commerce. He was on the George Raycraft Memorial Committee. He was also the first charter member to die. He passed away in 1925. Chalmers Curtis, you may be familiar with the Curtis name. He was born in 1867 in Richland, Michigan. He started the first bicycle club in Petoskey. He organized euchre contests, which I'm sure are still ongoing to this day. He actually commuted to his family back in South Dakota, which I think in like late 1800s, early 1900s, that's got to be a really long commute. He started a 300-acre farm in South Dakota. He was the pitcher for the indoor baseball game against Kiwanis. And when he died at the age of 90, he was the oldest active banker in the country. His younger brother, Morgan Curtis, which, let me go back one slide, you may recognize this property here. Morgan Curtis was born in 1871, also in Richland, Michigan. He was a lumber baron. He was the owner and president of the Lime and Stone Company. He was vice president of the First National Bank of Petoskey for 40 years, and he was alumni of the Petoskey High School. He donated the land for the football stadium and worked hard to get it built. His wife was also a good singer who sang for local groups. George Dancer, he was a grocer. He was an outfielder for that indoor baseball game. He was born in 1870 in Wheaton, West Virginia. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, not one of the people that founded Rotary was actually born in northern Michigan, born in Petoskey. He built the V-shaped building on Petoskey Street. It was the Petoskey Wholesale Grocery. He was on the committee to build an addition to the Lockwood Hospital in 1937. He helped start the Home Builders Association and was part of the Petoskey Bayview Country Club, which reminds me, and I don't know if anyone knows, when is the Country Club celebrating their centennial? Or have they already? There's a lot of Country Club members in this group.
They already did.
Oh, perfect. He was also a Lockwood General Hospital board member. There's definitely a theme with Rotarians as they're involved in a lot of different things. Here we have Dr. Ralph Engel. He was a physician, born in 1870 in Muskegon, Michigan. He graduated from Petoskey High School. During the Great Flu epidemic, he was put in charge of the City of Petoskey response, which I find interesting given the pandemic we're involved in now. But if the flu was not bad enough, he also had a smallpox outbreak to deal with. He was on the Program and Leadership Committee for Camp Daggett. He was the secretary of the Petoskey School Board for 36 years. I guess they don't have term limits back then. And he was the medical member of the Lockwood Board of Directors for many years as well. John Galster, Portland Cement Company, I believe. He was born in Buffalo, New York. He played third base for the indoor baseball game. He was the mayor of Petoskey from 1921 to 1925. He was an organizer and trustee of the Little Traverse Hospital. And the Galster family ran the Palace and New Temple theaters. I think the Palace Theater was downtown. Is that somewhere in there? As a boy, he was a paper boy in Petoskey, and he owned a cement freighter that he named after himself, which I think is fantastic. Dr. Charles Gray, he was actually born in Scotland on the Isle of Jersey Island in 1873. He played second base for the indoor baseball game, and he batted 1,000 for the game, which isn't bad for someone who played cricket as a kid. He went to the dental school program at the Detroit College of Medicine, and in World War I, he was the dentist for the DC Res 12th Machine Gun Battalion, Michigan 4th. He was the founder and first commander of the Petoskey's Carl O. Weaver Post, and he actually died in his sleep while staying at the Perry Hotel. So the Nude Club usually meets at the Perry Hotel. I know that there are certain ghosts associated with the Perry Hotel. One of them may be Dr. Charles Gray. And he was born on December 31st, so he always, I guess the Elks always did a New Year's Eve celebration, and he always said that the Elks celebrated his birthday every year. Benjamin Halstead. He was the judge umpire for the indoor baseball game. He was born in 1876 in Waukee, Iowa. He was the editor of The Student at Indiana University. He attended the University of Michigan Law School, and he was judge of the 33rd Judicial District Court. He was chairman of the State Board of Agriculture for Michigan State University, and he was on the Petoskey Board of Education. I like this guy, Guy Hankey. Guy Hankey was born in, I believe, 1881 in Petoskey. Oh, he was born in Petoskey. Yay! We have a Petoskey native. His mill made the best flour in Petoskey. He was an avid fisherman, avid golfer. He was president of the Petoskey Bayview Country Club. And back in the day, he wrote a warning in the newspaper, warning children of the dangers of using his dam as a shortcut. So I'm not sure where they were going from and to, but he definitely didn't want kids using his dam to get places. He was also the first vice president of the Petoskey Auto Club. And this picture here talks about Cobfleshes. So driver Henry Cobflesh, old time picture, Albert Morton Cobflesh. So there were a lot of Cobfleshes involved with the Hankey Milling Company back in the day. And then Dana Harvey Hinckley, he was a newspaper owner, born in 1878 in Hartford, Michigan. He was the shortstop for the indoor baseball game. He was a state legislator. He was a broom handle manufacturer. He attended the University of Michigan, and he was the owner of the local newspaper, Petoskey News Printing Company. He worked hard to found and maintain Camp Daggett. And in 1914, he offered a bill in Lansing to establish the Northwestern Normal School in Petoskey, which I bet was maybe the founding of North Central. Maybe? Nope. Carolyn says no. Okay. So Northwestern Normal School was a different school than North Central, but offered that bill. I love some of these pictures. John Lake. He was born in 1875 in St. John's, Michigan. He started in Petoskey as a school teacher, started the Lake Drug Company, and had several stores in northern Michigan. He did go bankrupt during the Great Depression, but managed to pay off all of his debts. After the Depression, he started the Lake Wallpaper and Paint Company, again, multiple stores. He was the largest seller north of Grand Rapids at the time. He was also in charge of writing the Federal Survey of Michigan's pardon and parole system for the years 1925 to 1936. Park Lance. Park was born in 1886 in Wilton, Indiana. He's one of two charter members that are not buried in Petoskey. He's buried in Wilton, Indiana. In 1912, he was hired as a history teacher and a football coach. He's the first Petoskey football coach to have an undefeated season. In 1916, he became the high school principal. In 1919, he became superintendent. And in 1923, he left to become the superintendent of Central Michigan Normal School, I believe later to become Central Michigan University. And he started an annual Northern Michigan basketball tournament back in the day. George McCabe. George McCabe was born in 1871 in Antrim County, Michigan. He was a catcher for the indoor baseball game. He was postmaster in 1942, owned Bump and McCabe Hardware, later called McCabe Bohm Hardware. He was temporary president of the group that formed the Chamber of Commerce, active in the formation of the Petoskey Portland Cement Company. He was the organizer of the first trap shooting club and organizer of the Petoskey Sportsman Club. And this guy, I actually have a family connection to. Bill McCune, William McCune. He was born in 1875 in Detroit, Michigan. He was the mayor of Petoskey from 1925 to 28. He served 4 terms. He was a lawyer, went to law school at the University of Michigan, graduated from Petoskey High School. He was the director of First State Bank. He was a president of the Petoskey Chamber of Commerce. He was superintendent of Methodist Church Sunday School for over 30 years. He was the president of the Petoskey Building Association, and he was president of the Michigan Association of Insurance Agents. And I believe his grandson was the McCune for McCune Dickinson, which hired my dad out of college. So the reason I'm in insurance is because of William McCune. George Stanley Rice. He was born in 1867 in Croghan, New York. He worked with his father in starting a tannery in Kagomic, Michigan, which is the area around the Petoskey State Park. He was very active in the Presbyterian Church. He was a prime mover in the establishment of the Petoskey Bayview Country Club, president of First State Bank after the death of Leon Chichester, who was a fellow Rotarian. He was active in the Workers' Temperance Union. He organized parades with Leon Chichester. And he was on a committee along with Homer Sly to look at establishing a YMCA. So it's been a long time we've been looking to establish a YMCA in Petoskey. Bud Salisbury. He was born in 1878 in Shelby, Michigan. In 1914, he stayed in Bayview and liked it so much he decided to stay for a while. He opened a shoe store, was an active prohibitionist, active in the Methodist Church, and he's also the second founding Rotarian not buried in Petoskey. He's buried in Shelby, Michigan. He was last mentioned in the news in 1925. For those who don't know, the Greenwood Cemetery has a fantastic archive of historical records, and I know that Bob and the crew with the Noon Club putting together the history have used that quite a bit. Homer Sly. I think Carlin's familiar with this name. Homer Sly was born in 1871 in Lockport, Illinois. His Rotary category, kid you not, is a tall, lanky automobile dealer. I didn't realize that was a category, but that was him. He attended Ferris Commercial College in Big Rapids and was a teacher of stenography in Muskegon, Michigan. From 1912 to 1913, he was the mayor of Petoskey. During World War II, he served as president of the Selective Service Board and ran a tire inspection company, or tire inspection station. Homer Sly Auto Sales was one of his businesses. He was the manager of Petoskey Crushed Stone Company. He was the vice president of the Petoskey Portland Cement Company. He was secretary for the Bayshore Saw Company. He was president and director of Petoskey Chamber of Commerce and member of the Petoskey School Board for 30 years. He was president of the school board for 28 of those 30. And then finally, we have Norman Wells. Norman was born in 1882 in Boston. He was a bench warmer for the indoor baseball game. He was manager of Petoskey and Bayshore Gas Company. He founded the Wells Coal Company. He founded Wells Electric Company. He was organizer of the Petoskey Stadium Association, on the Lockwood Hospital Board, part of Petoskey Home Building Association. He was the Winter Sports Club's second president and past president of Petoskey Bayview Country Club. So the big question everybody in Noon Rotary had during this presentation was, who won the baseball game? Because this is important. And unfortunately, we lost to Kiwanis by 1 point. So what we have taken from this is we need to challenge the Kiwanis Club to a rematch this year. And we're planning on doing so sometime, hopefully late summer. So moving into some of our centennial plans for this year. 100 years is a big deal. It's fun to celebrate. It's fun to look back. We are planning as a club to do 100 random acts of service. We have 100 Rotarians in the Noon Club, if you include our honorary Rotarians. And we're encouraging everyone in the club to do one thing they haven't done before. So if they volunteered for the spaghetti dinner every year, they can't count that, but they need to do something new, something different than they haven't done before. And we have a Google form that we fill out anytime we do an active service. We're keeping track of those and hoping to report at the end of the year that we've done 100 or more random acts of service throughout the year. We are going to have historical programs throughout the year. I think Bob is part of this and putting these together. His goal is to digitize all of our history so that in 100 years, when we're celebrating the bicentennial, they have all of this stuff easily at hand. So not tomorrow, but next week's program for the Noon Club, we're talking about our involvement with the Winter Sports Park. In April, there's a program on Camp Daggett and our involvement there. On June 9th, history and update on the Strive program, which I think several of you are involved in. And then on July 28th, I'm kind of excited for this one. Some of our more senior club members, think Stafford Smith, John Parker, Herb Carlson, will be sharing some of their memories over the last 50, 60 years as being part of Rotary. This annual spaghetti dinner update is not even official to our club yet. You guys are getting a sneak peek at this, so don't get me in trouble. tomorrow we are announcing the date for our spaghetti dinner. It's April 22nd. And in honor of our centennial, it is going to be free to the community. So normally it's a $5 ticket price, no ticket, no cost, takeout only. We're going to be running it through the Grand Unity Center. So kind of a drive-through pickup spaghetti dinner. If anyone is interested in sponsoring, we are doing sponsorships of $250 to kind of offset some of the costs of the food and everything. We are having a Centennial Gala this year on November 4th at the Perry Hotel. That is actually the date of our founding, November 4th. It's a Thursday night, I believe. We thought about doing it earlier in the summer so that some of our summer Rotarians could participate, but COVID, so we're pushing it back as far as we can. Our Centennial project this year is the Winter Sports Park, which I know Kendall has given a presentation on, and I see Rob Strabel's here today. We are committing $237,000 towards that project. We are doing an additional $40,000 challenge grant, so hoping to match that with community support if we manage to do everything we're hoping to do. And this is without any additional fundraising. So this is $237,000 from the Rotary Parks Fund, from Tallahassee Rotary Club Charities, Inc., and funds from past presidents that were committing their funds towards this project. So $237,000 is guaranteed. The additional $40,000 is guaranteed if we can make the match in the community. And we're hoping to do additional fundraisers this summer. So over $300,000 coming from Noon Rotary towards this project. We're excited about, really excited about. We are going to be doing an international project this year. We just don't know what it is yet. So we were waiting to see what the theme for this coming year was and what the new president's objectives were. Chris Etienne, who's in our club, is actively involved with Rotary at an international level, and she's going to be putting together some options for us. Once we have that project, we will definitely reach out to see if there's anything that you would like to help and participate with. And then hopefully we'll have this outdoor baseball rematch late summer, early fall. I would love to get additional clubs involved and make it kind of a service club event, tournament, something. I don't know. I'm not a big baseball person, but I know we have people in the community that are, and I think it would be really fun to plan an outdoor get together. So how can you guys help or participate? Kendall is going to be writing a grant to the state trust fund for parks to hopefully get a matching grant of $300,000 from the state. Letters of support are helpful for that project. And I have sample letter or sample wording for that I sent to Jenny, which she can forward on to send out to the club. His deadline for that, he'd like it by March 1st. And hopefully that works for you guys. If you would like to contribute towards the project, towards that $40,000 matching challenge, that would be fantastic. I would love if you wanted to field a team for the baseball game to be determined date later this summer. I'm sure Carlin's in somehow. If you want to participate in the international project, once we come up with it, that would be fantastic. We'd love to have you attend any Noon Club meetings. We have the same login, same link to join the Zoom meetings every week. I've included it here, but I'll also send it to Sarah or send it to Carlin so he can add it to the newsletter. If you'd love to attend our gala on November 4th, we're happy to have you. And if you want to help with the random acts of service, we'd love to have your participation with that as well. I think if all the service clubs kind of, in addition to everything we already do, which is amazing, if we all step it up a little bit this year, 2021 can be pretty fantastic in our neck of the woods. And I think, yeah, that's it. Let me stop sharing. Are there any questions that I can maybe or maybe not answer? Bob, did I get anything wrong?
Oh, you're quite well.
Thank you.
Ashley, how much does the Noon Rotary give out every year?
So it depends Typically, the PRCCI will do grants around $20,000 a year. That's the Rotary Club Charities, Inc. The Petoskey, the Parks Fund, it depends on what the fund does. So we take 80% of the increase over the corpus from the Parks Fund, and typically we'll do that in a grant cycle for capital projects every year, every other year. We did not do anything last year. So the $167,000 that's coming from the Parks Fund is 2 years of growth from that fund.
Thanks, Ashley. There's one more question in the chat. Jenny said she loves the smile posters you guys did down by the
that was
hole.
fun.
Yeah.
That was
who
fun.
Who came up with that idea?
So it was actually Jim Libby, who's part of the Noon Club. He saw the newspaper article about the individual, and I don't know his name. I've met him, but I can't remember his name, who was standing down there with just a handwritten cardboard smile sign. He saw that and he thought, that's really cool. And if you've ever attended the Noon Club meeting, we sing a song called Smile every week. So in light of bell ringing wasn't going to be super huge last year, in light of kind of everything that was going on, Jim suggested we create these smile signs and just spend a couple Fridays. It ended up being through the month of November. It was a little cold, I won't lie, but it was fun. It was great to see everybody driving and honking and waving and smiling and, you know, thumbs up, and it was good.
That's great. Yeah, it's, we're happy to be partners with you guys, and it's cool to see how, the things you've done to pivot and just continue to make an impact in the community. So thank you for sharing all that. Here's to another 100 years.
Absolutely, right?
All right, thank you so much.